Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you today? Suzette speaks in the house. I'm glad you're here. Happy Saturday to all of you watching, whether you're watching live on the YouTube channel, the Suzette Speaks Show, welcome. Or if you're watching on our sister stream every Saturday, we are co-hosted by Jamaicans.com on Facebook. So shout out to Jamaicans.com for being here. If you're watching live, please hit the like button. And of course, I love when you talk back to me. Everyone who's a member of my community are called speakers. Yes, that's right. The Suzette Speaks speakers. And why is that? I love to hear what you have to say about our topics. I love to hear you chime in the chat or leave your comments after the stream. Well, today I have a young man out of Miami, Florida, Dr. Marcus Bright. We are going to be talking about a very serious issue dealing with our young people. As you can tell, with the pandemic, with all of the struggles emotionally, psychologically, economically, that young people face due to, again, their parents under stress and therefore they're under stress, our youth are facing some very daunting odds in terms of pushing forward and pushing through and hopefully becoming the successful, contributing, well-adjusted adults we want them to be. Now, if you love a young person, I have little cousins, I have nieces and nephews, I have folks in my life that I really love and enjoy, but I want to figure out what are some possible solutions to help get our young people back on track. If you watch the news, you think that all young people are, into the craziness, gun violence and smoking and drugs and all this other stuff. But I know there's more to their story than that. I know they are trying to be the best they can under their circumstances. But right now, I don't care if you're watching in Germany, I don't care if you're watching in Jamaica, if you're like us sitting here in Miami or Canada, New York, Texas, DC, wherever you're watching from, my people's on the West Coast, let me know. And I know it is pervasive no matter where in the world you are. So we won't have a discussion based on the belief that we can solve world peace today. Let's just say that. But we are going to definitely delve into the issues that face our young people and try to come up with some solutions. And I know Dr. Marcus Bright, you've seen him on the Huffington Post. You've seen him on several contributing news outlets. You can find him on Instagram. I think I put it in the description at Doc Marcus Bright. But he's working in Miami-Dade to help solve some of the issues that face our youth. So today's topic, as I said, is saving our youth. And if you are into empowering young people, this is the show for you. But first, before I bring him up, hit the like button and please drop a comment in the chat so I know you're watching. Suzette Speaks here. I happen to be an attorney moonlighting as a YouTuber. I really enjoy the public square. I like talking to people from all walks of life around the world about everyday issues. And today is no different. I want you to go to my YouTube channel if you're watching on Facebook and check it out. Subscribe. First of all, if you're watching now, hit the like button and please hit that subscribe button so you'll know what's coming up. I have a few good shows before I go on vacation next week. And Monday, I'm going to have, oh my gosh, a former NFL coach, Hugh Jackson, the head coach of the historic Grambling State University football team. I'm going to talk to him a little. Y'all know I can talk a little sports, right? It's okay. And big up to all my HBCU grads. I'm excited. Next Wednesday, I have a show with Tobias the Traveler. I'm going to delve into his story. Tobias was in Medellin, Colombia, and unfortunately, ran into some folks that ended up drugging and robbing him. Okay, yes, people on vacation go through all kinds of stuff. I'm getting ready to go to Jamaica on vacation. I don't want to be facing those type of odds, but I like to pick topics on my show that are interesting to me, right? I'm into current events. I'm into politics. I'm into community upliftment. I'm into self-awareness and self-improvement. I also like, obviously, law as an attorney, and then, a little bit of relationships and love and all that good stuff. So we out here doing our best to bring enlightening conversation to the masses, and I really enjoy talking to you guys each and every week. I'm on about 4 or 5 days a week, and on Saturdays around 12 here on Jamaicans.com and on the Suzette Speaks show. But let me bring up my guest. But before I do, let me say hi to my peoples in the chat. Hey, how are you? Happy Saturday, Brown Gal Peace Lounge in the building. Good day to you, Sun Breeze, West Coast, Cali in the building. Nice to see you. P for the billions. How are you? He was up on a stream I did about whether we should buy a house or rent. Everybody's ready to buy a house now, but you look at them prices, bruh. It's out here making people feel real bad. But BTV, love to see you, brother. Thank you for being here. Thanks for stopping by. Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth with Bernard S. in the building. I believe he did a stream earlier today. Thank you for making time to come over and hang out. The world class with the sunglasses and the popcorn. Can't wait. Thank you for always being a supporter, brother, and I'm glad you are here. Yes, we are going. Oh, you're very sweet. We are going to get into our conversation, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Yes, without further ado, my special guest for today, Dr. Marcus Bright. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm happy to have you. You look like you're traveling, brother. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you made time for us this beautiful Saturday. Y'all see him there. Please go check him out on Insta. He's on Facebook as well. And I'm glad, you're the right person to help us kind of unpack this subject matter. But before we do, talk a little bit about yourself. For people who don't know you, tell us what you do and, how you're involved in the community.
Well, I'm here today on behalf of the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust and our great leader, Mr. William Bill Diggs. And that agency is tasked with improving the economic circumstances and conditions of Black people in Miami-Dade County. We do that through 3 divisions: housing, economic development, and youth services. Most of my background is in higher education and in nonprofit management. I'm originally from a town called Martin, Tennessee, first generation, not to pick cotton.
Wow.
Martin is a rural town, but I was back and forth between there and Memphis and West Tennessee playing basketball. Came to Florida out of high school via basketball scholarship, Palm Beach Community College, then the University of Tampa. Ended up getting a master's degree at Florida International University and a PhD at Florida Atlantic University. I've taught at 5 universities: FAU, FIU, Lane University, City University of New York, and the University of Massachusetts. Run a national nonprofit organization called Education for a Better America, which was a sister organization to the National Action Network, where we did work in 15 different cities. The last 4 years, I've been the district administrator for the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project, dropout prevention and mentorship program founded in 1993 by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. Just in Miami-Dade County, they have 117 chapters in 117 schools serving 8,000 young men. And I'm a bit of a journalist myself, published over 150 articles examining socioeconomic conditions in America. But today I'm just grateful for today, grateful for the opportunity that we have to address many of the challenges that you mentioned previously. But I see these challenges really as opportunities. The obstacle is the way. And I believe that we as a people, both locally and nationally, are fit for the challenge, and we're ready to rise to the occasion.
I love it, brother. Your resume is so long. I'm glad you did it, because I'm like, wait a minute. I know he's a scholar, academician or academician. I don't know what's the right term. Someone who has been in the academy, serving as a professor and scholar all around. So I'm grateful so that people know your background and know that you know what you're talking about, basically, when it comes to these type of issues. So I was wondering how you got to Florida. So from Tennessee to Florida on basketball. Okay, I get it now. And been down here doing some great work. And as he said, he's published several articles. You can look him up, Dr. Marcus Bright. So when you came to Miami, or I should say when you started working with the Miami-Dade Trust, tell me the name. Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust.
Economic Advocacy Trust. Okay.
Right.
So when you started working with the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, what kind of work did they hire you to do, or what were you challenged with addressing?
Well, I'm challenged with, we really work as a unit. As I said, under our illustrious leader, Mr. Bill Diggs, our mission is to increase the performance, the participation of Blacks in housing, economic development, and youth services. And given my background, I was tasked with youth services, but working in conjunction with those other entities because nothing is in isolation. What it is, it happens with us economically, affects young people, affects families, and certainly we're dealing with a housing crisis here, with Miami being the number one least affordable place to live right now in America. And that is due to a number of different factors, but there was just recently a Wall Street Journal article that stated that our rent, for example, has gone up 58% on average in the last 2 years. And so that certainly presents a tremendous challenge, but there are also tremendous opportunities that have come here. We've seen a mass migration of the finance and tech sectors come here to South Florida. We didn't land on Silicon Valley, but Silicon Valley has landed on us. And it presents great challenge, but also great opportunity.
I
And I
love
believe that
it.
if we don't focus on the disparity, but we focus on the opportunity, then we'll be in a better way to go in. Because no one wants to invest in a deficit. But if we look at the underappreciated assets that are within our community and those assets that are worthy of investment, then we'll be in a much better place, I believe.
Absolutely. So empowering specifically the Black community, economically speaking, throughout Miami. That is what the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust does. And across the board, there are so many different programs. But I want to focus and drill down on what you do for youth. And I know you have
Right.
several programs coming up. But let's talk about that. When you see the statistics, and I know you are a red person, and you probably know much more about why it seems like our youth, Black youth in specific, and we're going to talk about Miami in context because that's where we are. But when it comes to the challenges they face, what do you think are the biggest challenges? Is it from this economic point of view where their parents are struggling to make ends meet, so therefore you have kids who are dealing with hunger, you have kids that are dealing with lack of just resources in general. So how can you compete in school when you don't have food, or you don't have the technology, or access to the internet and some basics? So let's first define our problem when it comes to some of the challenges that our youth are facing. What would you say are in the top three or so of that list?
I think number one, you hit the nail on the head, is economic, and that has to do in large part with economically. You could say that we were born 50 yards behind if you're in a 100-yard race due to 244 years of slavery. Then you have another 100 years of legalized Jim Crow, and then you have continuing remnants of discrimination at all levels. And so we simply do not have the access to, on average, to the kind of intergenerational wealth transfers that other communities may have. That being said, that is the situation in terms of what is given, and that has significant ramifications in terms of family dynamics, in terms of being able to afford to have a decent place to live, to have the concentrated poverty that characterizes many of our communities, the disinvestment in schools and us not having access to equitable educational opportunities. And then when it is, even if you do get education, even if you do get a job, so to speak, being underrepresented in lower wage industries. And if you put that in context of what's happening now with increasing inflation, with increasing cost of living, it becomes even more imperative for us to build new pipelines. So another
Absolutely.
one,
And
and
I'm
that
gonna I'm
leads.
gonna chime in. Excuse me. I'm gonna chime in just a little bit there because I do know that the economics of South Florida is like one of the roughest places to try to live
Yeah,
right now in terms of
yeah.
the cost. We are the housing market, for example, here is one of the most expensive. We have
Mhm.
skyrocketed to like the top three most expensive in our country. And a lot of us were already kind of on the edge. Many people were living, paycheck to paycheck beyond, before pandemic, before the housing market just took off.
Mhm.
So imagine if you're working as an essential worker or a frontline worker, as we were calling them during the pandemic, or someone who is in a service industry, which we have a lot of in Miami. We mentioned the tech jobs, and they're moving in slowly, right? You have a high tier company, like, I mean, several tech companies have come our way, but are they really hiring young people? Are they really hiring, folks without those type of skills? Honestly, Miami is full of people who have probably high school education, maybe some um, community college and things like this. But to get those, as we were talking about, tech jobs that are moving here, you got to really have coding skills. And I know there are people. Shout out to Felicia Hatcher with the Miami Tech Week and these things that she's trying to bring a light not only to the tech industry, but how do we get more Black and people of color into the tech industry, because they're right in our backyard now. They like Miami, they like the weather, they like the scenery and the skyline. But are we really seeing beyond, service jobs, folks like, the young African American population in Miami get opportunities? And the answer to me is no, or not yet, because again, you're going to need skills to make some of these high wage jobs, and we are very service focused here, right? The hotel industry, the restaurant industry, the tourism industry at large is where a lot of, especially young people, get their start. But Dr. Marcus, I was seeing that there are grown people that are in jobs that used to be considered starter jobs, that used to be, you got people working at Walmart 20 and 30 years. I'm talking about grown people. I've interviewed them. You got people at McDonald's. Like, again, we once thought about this as like, I'm Malcolm. I'm gonna go get a job at McDonald's for, the work experience. And then again, if you have adults who stay in these jobs because they have to, as a first or second job, you don't have teenagers kind of getting into the pipeline and getting that work experience. So it's a kind of like double-edged sword, where it's like, all right, we have tech industry here, but again, do we have the skills and are we ready to step into those roles? Absolutely not. And then we have service industry, yes, but again, because it is so expensive, adults take a lot of the service industry jobs. It was the first time, sir, during the pandemic that I saw, because people were afraid, older, say 40 and up, were afraid to be out here, that I saw teenagers back at the waiting tables. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, oh my gosh, this summer, I'm seeing a lot more of the folks who need job experience to understand what it is to show up on time, understand what it is to give good customer service, understand what it is to clock in, punch in, work as a team, and those type of skills that you build early. And if you don't get those jobs as a teenager, your work history is actually impacted in the long run. Tell me about what you think we can do. I know that's a big problem, and I give you a lot of different aspects of it.
Yeah.
But what do you think we can do to try to address some of this?
Well, let me speak specifically to tech first, because I've actually written a 6-part series in diverse issues in higher education called the Inspiring Tech series. Number one was Inspiring Tech Dreams. And I came on Inspiring Tech Dreams I wrote it based on the movie Hoop Dreams, which we're hosting a power summit. And it's the focus of the movie Hoop Dreams is 2 young men. It was made in the early 1990s, who are aspiring to be like Isaiah Thomas, the NBA Hall of Famer, who was at the time playing for the Detroit Pistons, but a native of Chicago. And he's actually the keynote speaker for our Power Summit, August 10th at the FIU North Coven Center at 9 a.m. for those of you who are in Miami. But Inspiring Tech Dreams. So they're in the same way that they wanted to be Isaiah Thomas, and the professional athletes and entertainers are mass marketed to us so our young people can dream. They see the route. They say, if I put in this work on the basketball court or on the football field, then I can see the manifestation of what that looks like, which is what the young men were doing. And we can do the same thing in industries like tech. A lot of people may not want to be an engineer or a computer scientist or any of these cybersecurity professionals because they've never seen one. It's not marketed to them. It's only vague. They can't see it. So the need to inspire tech dreams was part one. Number two, inspiring tech discipline. Discipline is the dream, is the bridge from dream to reality. And I had to get forward. I had a younger brother who went to FIU, majored in computer engineering, actually played basketball too. But watching him, I saw that there's a lot of discipline that's needed in terms of being able to master the kind of math that you need to. There are gatekeeper courses. High school is algebra, in college is calculus, but you have to have tremendous discipline to be able to fulfill even the coding courses to get the kind of credentials to qualify yourself to play. So it was inspiring tech discipline. And then I had inspiring tech bridges. That's the need, as you mentioned, many adults are going to need to retool, to upskill, and
Yeah.
bridges need to be built for them to be able to cross over into some more lucrative careers, including tech. And then
Yeah.
I had inspiring tech pipelines, uh, much like, and I think in our community, we have to look at the assets that we do have. In Miami, we produce the greatest football players in America from some of our Black majority communities like Liberty City, Overtown, Miami Gardens, Goulds, and
Little
Opelika,
Haiti.
Little Haiti, all of these. And so a lot of that happens from a young age. We develop, talent is developed, and the talent is put into a pipeline. They go to camps, they get coaching. If you go to the parks, I remember I went to a park game, and at halftime in Tennessee when we played, we just went with the team at halftime. I saw the whole uh, cheering section of a team go with the team to
Yeah.
halftime to because the standard of excellence was that high. And so we can identify that kind of talent in tech and other places and build those kind of pipelines. Then I had inspiring tech economics. That was simply that it is an economic imperative now. Economic imperative to get into higher wage industries. We are overrepresented in a lot of the lower wage industries. We have to break in. We have to qualify ourselves to play. We have to put pressure on companies. If you're going to come here, we need an opportunity to play too. I don't need you. James Brown said, "You don't have to give me anything. Open up the door, and I'll get it myself." And then the part 6 was just published this week, inspiring tech participation. That is, you don't necessarily have to be a software engineer to participate. You can be in robotics. You can be in gaming. You can have you're a lawyer. You can be a lawyer for a tech firm for those in your industry, or for something like that. But being able to transfer over, but we have to participate, and even if it's not perfect, we have to get started and build momentum from there. And
I
so
love
just
it.
those were inspiring tech. If you Google me, Marcus Bright, diverse issues in higher education. I've written about 10 articles in the last year on tech. But what it is for tech can be replicated for other industries depending on where you are in the country. I'm talking about Miami because
That's where we
Silicon
are.
Valley
Yeah.
has come here. But
No,
wherever
that's
you are,
great.
whatever your
That's
industry is, we have to build those kind of intentional pipelines, and we have models of success that we can build on.
and I love it. You mentioned so many different solutions because I think the educational piece. Yes, we want to teach our young people about the sports and all the other stuff. And I think again within our culture here, especially in like South Florida, we overemphasize. And I'm not saying it's not a good thing. I'm just saying we need balance. The sport culture in terms of football and basketball. Oh, we are into it. Oh, we gonna show up for the basketball game. But we have to also as you say, create role models. I thought that was really great in terms of understanding that we need to get back, and I'm getting back into it myself. Put my money where my mouth is. Going to career days, understanding that people need to be able to see, feel, and touch folks
Mhm.
that look like them. People that are like, wow, I want to be a lawyer. You're a lawyer. Like I remember walking into classrooms, middle schools, high schools. They are shocked. They've never met an attorney. It's shocking to me. And I
Yeah.
thought to myself, oh my God, what a difference exposure makes where there are young people who have never seen, and I take for granted because I had people in my family who actually had done some things. But yeah, us as professionals, if you will, understanding, and even people who are in working class, if you will, type positions, understanding that that mentorship role and understanding that role models and just being present is super important. And whether you went to school or not, whether you're an attorney or not, exposing them to that. I'm thinking college tours. I'm thinking, guest speakers or wherever from the church house to the schoolhouse. We really
Mhm.
have to do a better job as a community. And I'm asking and putting myself in that solution as well. Because whether we like it or not, the overexposure that Dr. Marcus is talking about, that overexposure to entertainment, sports, I'm going to make it as a rapper. I'm going to make it as a football player, when we know this, less than what, 1% of any athlete in this country of that makes it to a collegiate level, makes it to the professional level. We really have to emphasize the positive outcomes that you can get for your life when you look beyond, those traditionally pegged areas that are suitable for Black folks. I
Mhm.
also want to go back to a little bit in terms of not only tech, but our trades. I
Mhm.
think we have a de-emphasis on trades as if they are less than, or if they're not respectable lines of work. And I don't know what your opinion is on trades and trade schools, but a lot of programs have been taken out of schools when it comes to tradesmen. And I'm telling you, in our history as African Americans here, of which I have been kind of grafted in, thank you. It is like looking back at the soldiers and the warriors of the 60s and the 70s, even before that. A lot of the men that helped to finance our economic empowerment and underwrite the movement
Mhm.
were tradesmen. And I think there has been some would argue, a concerted effort to kind of remove that opportunity from people.
Mhm.
You can make a lot of money as a plumber. You can make a
Mhm.
lot of money in a car repair shop. You can make a lot of money doing all kinds of things. And I think that also segues into that entrepreneurship that we are using as a buzzword, but there's not really that understanding or that impartation of really what does that mean? And what does that look like? And what do you have to learn in terms of skills to actually uh, do those things? And again, a lot of our young people have those skills because they think from a hustling mentality anyway. I'm gonna flip this and make that, right? But I think, again, not being able to see role models, see people that look like them as successful as they want to be and as cool, right? And then also providing these secondary, I don't want to call it secondary, I think they're more realistic lines of kind of a career path that many would excel at. They're good with their hands. They're good, they're kinetic learners, and that our schools
Yeah.
are not doing a good job of providing opportunities for. Can you talk about that? Why? Or maybe you can tell me if you've written about this type of de emphasis for a lot of our young, specific Black men, young Black
Yeah.
boys, to kind of not only some of these hierarching career paths, which we want, but
Mhm.
again, some good, stable, hard work, but good work in terms of being able to sustain themselves in a family. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I actually had a meeting yesterday with the Miami-Dade County Public Schools. They have about 9 or 10 tech colleges across the county who facilitate exactly that kind of training individuals to become certified in replacing and working on air conditioning units, and being car mechanics and working on airplanes at a school called Baker Aviation, a school called Lindsey Hopkins, where they have a lot of their training in Overtown, and DA Dorsey in Liberty City, where they are training people with, you can get a career in a year, but too many people don't know about it because it
They don't
hasn't been
take a
mass
lot of
market.
school. They not expensive, and you
Yeah,
can make money. AC people
yeah,
in Florida, South Florida,
yeah,
make
absolutely.
money. Summertime, you are on call, bro. It makes good money, but it's not cool or sexy or
Yeah, we
hot
have to glamorize
boyish.
it.
I don't know, but anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt your point. Go ahead, sir.
No, you're absolutely right. We have to glamorize it. We have to promote it, and we
Yes,
can make activism. Advocacy is about making something important. That's a big part of it. You can make it important. We
yes,
have the digital tools. No one was thinking about Sesame Street, and that became one of the biggest stories in the country.
yeah.
Rosita, so we can do the same thing through other, in terms of elevating the trades, working with your hands, and making a viable living, because you're
Yeah,
going to need credentials, you're going to need skill sets to survive here. If you're going to live here in South Florida, for sure, you're
absolutely.
going to need some money.
Exactly. I'm thinking about a high school friend of my brother's, and so good at auto mechanic and car repair. And I remember his parents were trying to get him to go to a 4-year college and steer him
Mhm.
away from it. And I kept thinking, Ooh, this is like the opposite of what he needs. This is his gifting. He's really good. He loves cars. He's so good at it. And you know, the guy left. I was so like, it was heartbreaking to watch
Mm,
him try to hustle and figure out something else where such a trade would have been in total alignment from what I saw with his love, his and passion and his abilities. But again, we have to do a better job as a community to say to young people, what? You're doing car repair? Wonderful. AC, you sign
yeah.
up for that program? Great. You're going into the plumbing program? High five to you. We got to get back to us as the adults kind of respecting these things and letting them know if that's what you want to do. Shoot, the army and the and serving the country, heck yeah. I'm so proud of you. Go ahead. Yeah, we want everybody to be a 4-year soldier at college, and that's not
Mhm.
how everyone is built, nor do they have to be, right? I was
Right.
watching people and I'm let me put the little T out. Public adjusters in Florida is a several months course, bro. And if you link with the right attorney or company of what should I say, a group of people who kind of are in the chain when disasters happen or when homes have to be assessed, you make bread. And that's a certification and a license. Surveyors, oh, I can tell you about 5 careers that probably
Mhm.
take 6 to 9 months, less than a year of education.
Mhm.
And you can make so much money. And again, the cost of living down here is so expensive. People, I don't understand how people live. So quite frankly, with like 4 or 5 kids and 3 kids, I'm
Right.
like, bro, it's hard for me to take care of myself. So I can imagine pressures on families and therefore our youth. That Christian Fam channel, thank you for being over here. Says tech is great, but it's the nuts and bolts trades, so to speak, that will always be needed. Hands down. Thank you. It says people down here in Texas make great money as HVAC, heating, ventilation, AC. Those programs are less than a year. Those men make money. I agree with you in Florida too. It's hot and they stay on the moon. Removed on purpose, he adds. Yes, trade programs are essential. Thank you so much. Ezra, the insurance broker, says, hey, Suzette, what's up to Brother Marcus? Good to see you. Great work you're doing here. Welcome. Thank you. And yo, the world class, I had to read this. Say this dude's suit was made with a laser. He's sharp. Kevin, I believe Kevin Samuels is who he's referring to. Will be proud. I just love it. Chat is undefeated as usual. Awesome. Sunbreeze adds. I saw that when the job is urgent, some companies in Silicon Valley, this is a good point, and especially in Miami,
Mhm.
we're looking hopefully for these type of opportunities too. Will train you on the job. That includes tech jobs. So hopefully, as you are doing through the Miami-Dade Economic and Advocacy Trust, is hopefully having these discussions with companies that listen. We got good students here that need opportunity. We have people who have abilities within this space. And again, if this is your lane, high five. If it's not your lane, that's okay too, right?
Mhm.
Let's have a broad spectrum of choices that young people can make and feel respected, right? And not feel as if I'm less than because I didn't go here, I didn't go there. They're gonna be able to take care of themselves, y'all. That's what we really want. I know you guys have a do you want to respond? I'm sorry, before I pivot. Go ahead.
I agree, and that is going to be a general career awareness is going to be a major campaign that we're going to be on throughout the course of the school year, while simultaneously working with employers to provide exposure to the world of work. If that's bringing in people to help to highlight and elevate certain career paths, but then also working with schools to help to update our curriculum to make it relevant to what's going on here now. We can't have a Flintstones curriculum in a Jetsons world uh, and still be relevant and still be competitive
Absolutely.
in this modern day market in this modern day marketplace. And so, just as individuals have come here and put pressure on everybody, and we accept the pressure, pressure must
And get
also
them
be put
tax
on.
dollars to open up,
Yeah,
right? And
right,
get your
right.
same
Get
tax
tax
money to open
abatements
up.
and tax
Mhm.
incentives that come from the people, and so we're not going to subsidize our own removal without at least getting an equitable and fair shot. And you're absolutely right about many companies, especially in the tech sector, that will go and spend inordinate amounts of money on H-1B visas to bring people from all across the world when there are people right here who are capable and competent to be able to fulfill some of those roles. And so it's going to
Yes,
be working with our universities, working with our school district, working with principals, many principals, teachers, counselors, people in the schools. They work tremendously hard. They need support. They need people who can come in and bolster what it is that they're doing, and they need encouragement as well. So
exactly.
it's
All
going to take
around,
all
we
of
have
us.
to have those pipeline steps. I agree. Kenardak, shout out to you. He talked about who's this beautiful woman with the glowing smile on the screen. High vibrations to you, Suzette, and everyone in here watching while eating oatmeal on an LA morning. Welcome, brother. Thank you, brother Kenardak, in the building. Check out his channel, y'all. Hit the like button as you come in. Want to do a quick reset. We're talking saving our youth. I have a special guest, Dr. Marcus Bright. He's from the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. He's talking about some of the solutions that he's putting forth within his role here in Miami, but I think it can also be applied no matter where you live around the world. We're seeing similar issues, I'm sure. And chime in the chat. Let me know what you're seeing where you live. This is a Suzette Speaks show. I'm Suzette Speaks. I'm happy you're here. And please consider subscribing and joining my Patreon. Patreon, get ready. I'm going on vacation, Dr. Marcus, next week. I can't wait. Spending 2 weeks in Jamaica. I'll be mostly on my Patreon talking about it and letting the people see what's really good. And I might have to come on live every now and then, like next Saturday, and let the people know what's going on down there. But I'm really excited finally for a break. But as we're talking about today, saving our youth, I want to pivot a little, but I want to finish out the economic piece, because I think helping youth find jobs, focus on careers that are sustainable and attainable, skill sets that will translate into decent living. I don't know why we have de-emphasized that. We've gotten into kind of like this. I mean, yes, people can break out on TikTok, and I'm trying to break out on YouTube. You too, Doc. Go to his YouTube channel. Please subscribe as well. But we know that in reality, we also need to feed ourselves. And this doesn't always happen for everyone. People have different propensities and honestly, different luck in breaking through and becoming viral. And that, majority of us will not. So I don't know. We have to make those hard truths a little bit more transparent for them, while encouraging them that, guess what, though? There are so many other ways that you can build a life. And I think that emphasis on responsible thinking towards your life is also something I know you guys will take care of at your upcoming youth summit. I do want to pivot off of the economics and talk about, there are two other sides of youth empowerment that I really am passionate about, which is understanding the legal system. We call that interaction with policing and things like this. And I also want to talk about the mental health of our young people, because I think all of these things drive back to and emanate from the conditions of what they're experiencing in terms of what's going on inside their minds, inside their bodies, inside their spirits. So let's pivot to thinking about how youth and policing is. I know this is a subject matter you'll cover at the conference that you guys have planned coming up. How do we, I don't want my young people to be afraid of police, right? Especially the Black and brown, right? But we know, again, some people will say, shout out to a guest I've had called Officer Nathan Daly. He'll be like, it's overreported. There's more white people dying at the hands of police. Don't believe the hype. But we see these stories. These stories go viral, where there is a young Black person, young Black man in specific, that has encounters with police. And I wonder how we should a police that leads to something crazy and sometimes death. How should we be approaching this subject matter with our young people? I'm always so sensitive as an attorney. I try to be like, with what Officer Nathan would say is, comply to survive. He's big on that. Stop trying to be a hero. Stop trying to talk back. Stop trying to prove your point. We need you to live another day. Where do we start with our education, or where should we start with our education of our young people, specifically our Black boys, when it comes to how to interact with law enforcement?
It is a multifaceted problem and solution. And another YouTuber, Antonio Moore, I remember him quoting a stat from the Criminal Policy Institute, where he said that there were approximately 700,000 women all across the world incarcerated, all across the world, out of like 4 billion women. And there are more uh, over that number just of black men in America incarcerated. So there are
Mm-hmm.
more black men incarcerated in America than all of the women in the world. And I said, if that was any other demographic, people would be in the streets. That is uh, uh, a, a, a crisis of epidemic proportions. And so, certainly disrupting the school to prison pipeline is has got to be at the, if not at the top, very close to the top of any youth-led youth development initiative, and it's something that we work on every day at the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. Within the Youth Services Division is the Teen Court Program, which is a diversionary program giving youthful offenders a second chance as opposed to immediately going into the criminal justice system. And so they are
That's a wonderful
coming.
model program. So you have a teen court, and for those who
Teen
may
Court.
not even have heard of this, I just want to explain it. You can explain it real quick. Shout out to Canard X says you have a Flintstones curriculum in a Jetsons world. Dr. Marcus Bright, that was a nice gem there, nice nugget there. I want to acknowledge you, Joy, in the chat. Joy says, a mother of two children, my best advice is the 3 R's. Find the passion from within for what you decide to do. You must enjoy doing the career. Your foundation is math, science, and language. Absolutely, 100%. We got to get back to basics, y'all. Learning the beautiful English language. That's how I look at it. It is, to me, again, it's art. That's how I was taught English. I love putting, sentence structure and things like this. Some basic skills. Do you know they stopped teaching cursive? Was I the only person that didn't know that? They don't teach
Wow.
cursive anymore. My little cousin, who is 16 going on 17, I gave her a birthday card and she could not read it because
Wow.
she never learned cursive. And I was like, once again, is this all schools? Is that just Miami? Like, what are they doing around the world? I would love to know, because I was just like, this again puts you at a disadvantage. You can't read cursive. People are going to think that you're, quote, dumb. You're not dumb. No one ever taught you to write and read cursive. Like, again, she's been in school in America and she's gotten A's. Do you get what I'm saying? So some of these A's, y'all better question some of the A's that the kids are given. We're just getting kind of promoted through this, educational system. We got to really check that, because it scared me. I was just like, wow, this is a child that won't be able to read cursive unless I think I'm going to give her, like, for Christmas, like a cursive, I don't know, something that is like, here, this is how you're going to do this. So I am really shocked. But again, some of this, people would say, is not by accident. If you keep a population kind of dumbed down, if you keep a population, what would end up being disenfranchised, right? Why do I want to vote? My life ain't gonna change. I'm no better. I can't own no house. I can't do what I want to do with my life. I'm looking around and everyone's passing me. You purposely are creating kind of like an underclass mentally. So then here it goes. It manifests because there were no opportunities given. If we say the children are the future, if we say we really want to build the middle class, that was, I think, something that the United States was very proud of at one point. Or are we not? Are we trying to create an underclass? Like, it's very, very scary and sickening, and it makes my stomach hurt sometimes. Shout out to the super chat. Dr. Thunder in the building, another heavyweight. I don't know if you know him, Dr. Marcus. He is, is the right word academician or academian? I don't know where I got academician from. Is that the right word?
Academician.
Is it
Academician.
right? Okay, I thought I made it up. He's out of Ohio. He has a wonderful channel. You guys should connect. You would make
Okay.
a wonderful. I'll introduce you guys on email. Dr. Thunder in the building. Also, one of my brother in these YouTube streets doing work. Let's see. That Christian Family Channel says, make it to see another day. Don't fight to win in the streets. You can always go fight in the court. Hell, that's where we at. Brown Gal Peace Lounge. I get Nathan's point, Officer Nathan Daly, regarding white people dying at the hands of officers, but that doesn't negate that black and brown plight in being wrongfully accused of crimes and frequently brutalized. Exactly. Both can be true. You can have more white people die at the hands of law enforcement. That, again, makes sense because you have more white people in America, and therefore they will have much more interaction just by volume, just by the total population, right, being larger. So you got to be careful that just because that is also true doesn't mean that we don't have an issue also at the same time with over brutalization of the brown and black populations when they do have these interactions. Shout out to Sun Breeze with the 101 cent. Thank you so much. On the super chat, when we do serious topics, Dr. Marcus, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna lose people and people not gonna want to
Yeah.
support. Thank you so much, Sunbreeze. Are these topics the ones that really matter? Yes. I know we like to talk hot topics and current events and a little bit of what's trending, but what can better the next, 20 years of our population is kind of addressing our young people for real, for real.
Yeah.
Understanding that they are under, I feel, attack, right? And we're going to get into mental health in a moment. And we're going to get into some other aspects that I know you guys will cover on your conference day. They're doing a youth empowerment conference in Miami. Miami Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. You can look them up. RM, if you wouldn't mind, thank you, RM. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Sunbreeze, for my moderators. Look up the Miami Dade Economic Advocacy Trust website if you wouldn't, and please drop it in the chat. Wow. Thank you, Sunbreeze. I am grateful again, always. You have been one of my day ones, and I thank you so much for your support. Again, when we talk about these things, I'd be worried that y'all be like, ah, that's boring. But there's real what should I say, power in us talking about this, which is elevation of the body, the whole. We want to also, individually do the best we can to improve ourselves. I'm very big on that. Help me God. I have a lot of areas of improvement I need, but we don't want to forget one thing. I do feel like in the American society, we get so busy with job and making ends meet and all of this that it makes you kind of disaffected. You don't have time to think about the young person down the street. You don't have time to think
Mhm.
about another human being. That's not how we were. We are community minded. Our
Mhm.
community in specific. We've always been. But now is this disjointedness to try to make you feel like every man, every woman for themselves. That's the trick of the devil. Let me just put it like that. Right? There are so many parts of us that would just be better, stronger together if we are addressing these issues together. If you take one step, yes, I got to worry about my bills and all this, but let me go volunteer 1 hour at this school. Let me do one, community service project with my church. Let me do one-on-one with a kid that no one would ever know. It won't be published. No one would ever hear. I would go take this one big brother, big sister to lunch 1 week. There are so many parts of our community that would get so much better if we again focused on again what we can do collectively. It seems like a big issue and a big problem, guys, that we'll never solve, but we can also break that down to an individual basis. Maybe you have more time and you can head up a program. You can join here in Miami. 100 Black Men is a big service organization. As Dr. Marcus talks about, he works with a program down here also called 5,000 Role Models. It's men mentoring boys, supporting young Black men as they hopefully mentor them to get to what we talked about, college, trade school, wherever they're going to go, the military, and being role models, right? 5,000 Role Models is a huge program. Shout out to Congresswoman Frederica Wilson. You know her. She wears the hat in Congress, a Black woman that wears this beautiful hat in Congress. That's our
Mhm.
Congresswoman. But when I think about so much this problem, it's like, again, it's easy, guys, to get overwhelmed. And it's easy, guys, to kind of like, no, they gone. They go. The youth are done for. We can't afford, guys, to have that happen. We can't afford that. We have to stay vigilant and hopefully involved to some degree. Whatever little bit or big bit you can do, we got to do it because it's again, our future depends on it. Our future absolutely depends on it. Some breeze. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Makes my day. Support in the stream on such a serious topic. Today we are talking about saving our youth. Hit the like button, y'all. Appreciate the support. Comment, share. Every which way we can get messages like this out is super important. Dr. Marcus Bright is here represent himself as well as the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. They work to build the Black community economically. That is their goal. And they're going to be doing a youth empowerment summit just around the corner, actually, in August, beginning of August. So we're talking about some of the issues that youth are facing and what we can do as a community to help address them. One more on the super chat. Thank you so much to hi Tariel Key. I hope I have Teriel. I hope I'm saying it correctly. I would love to connect with him on my channel. Okay, Doc, you're gonna be in demand now. You're welcome. You know, you're gonna be demand. No, he is the real deal, y'all. We met way back at a journalism conference. Remember? Back.
Yeah,
Was that in Orlando? I can't remember which conference it
I
was.
think DC,
It was in
National
DC.
Association of
I
Black
remember.
Journalists.
Yes,
Mhm.
National Association of Black Journalists Conference. And I was like, I always, when you see people from a distance and kind of see them doing their thing, I
Yeah.
always cheer for you, brother. And I'm glad we
Thank you.
reconnected here. And Tay Real said, I would love to connect with him on my channel. Okay, you can either email him, DM him, whatever you want to do on Instagram, or you can email me and I'll try to connect the two of you. But I want us to connect with one another. Like-minded people need to join forces to help uplift, empower, educate. And let's get back to it, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox. So, yes, we were talking about law enforcement and youth. Again, in
Mhm.
Miami, that is huge, 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 huge.
Yeah, I
Just
think it's
go
also
ahead.
working with law enforcement agencies and departments to make
Yeah,
sure that they aren't giving harsher penalties for the same infractions in our community, and not over policing our community and criminalizing blackness. And so
yeah,
there's been so much written about the need for reform in the criminal justice system, and we're going to continue to push for a more equitable treatment of our people in the criminal justice system, as well as being proactive about educating and empowering people to be able to have positive interactions with law enforcement officials. So, and that is a part of the summit. We have a law enforcement encounters workshop, and it's something that we want to continue throughout the year so that police can get to know more about young people, and young
yes.
people can get to know more about police and what they deal with, and how it is that they put their life on the line every
And
day.
I want them to join. I agree with excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I agree with Officer Nathan Daly. We need more black police.
Mhm.
I know we need reform institutionally speaking, but I think we need to encourage our young people to get into legal and law enforcement careers, period.
Yeah.
I think this is a super, super important part of the solution. If everybody is scared of police, if everybody's mad with police, or not everybody, but you see, we have these trends. How do we fix it? Some of y'all, some of us, have to get in legal and law enforcement careers. We need to, and I know we have a school. Miami Dade has a police academy at
Mhm.
Miami Dade Community College, Miami's community college. So does Broward College, which is Fort Lauderdale, has a police academy as well. I think it's like a 2-year program. Don't quote me, but it's not that long. And again, low investment, high return. That police overtime is no joke, right? Again, you have to be cut out for it. You got to run, jump, skip, and be ready for it because it's a very serious profession. It's a very serious profession, and we want people who are actually dedicated to what they say is the goal: protect and serve. Sometimes people question. I wish Nathan Daly was here. He better come up on this stream. I might drop the link, y'all, and y'all can come up and give your final comments. But yeah, when we talk about protect and serve, he always says it's really about law enforcement. Y'all tripping when y'all talk about protect and serve. That came from the public, but the actual center and focus of what policing is law enforcement. And I found that very interesting. Go back and watch my shows with Nathan, Officer Nathan Daly. We did one on the Highlands Park shooting and the shooting of the young man that was shot like 30 something times, Jalen Walker. So go back and watch that. The American Psycho is what it's called. Go back and watch that on my YouTube channel. He did a great job. He always breaks down policing because he's a former officer. So shout out to Officer Nathan Daly. And thank you again to Real Key. I want to pivot to the mental health piece. And again, this is a conference that is coming up. If you're in the South Florida area, the date is August 9th.
August 10th is the date
10th
of the summit, 9
summit.
a.m. FIU North Coven Center. The night
Okay.
before, though, we are having a legal an awards and appreciation reception at the same place at 6 p.m. where we're going to convene much of the legal community in South Florida to recognize those who have been making great efforts, but then also think about how we can move forward in a more equitable fashion. But August 10th,
Is
big
the youth
day,
summit.
Power Summit, 9
Mhm.
a.m. FIU Coven Center, workshops on mental health, legal career pathways, tech career pathways, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, business and entrepreneurship, and tech career pathways. And then we also have, and then law enforcement encounters. I'm sorry, that's the sixth one. And then a
So
keynote
yeah.
from Isaiah Thomas, NBA Hall of Famer and entrepreneur extraordinaire. He
Well, y'all
owns
didn't invite me to
several
the night
businesses.
though. Y'all didn't invite me.
The
Y'all
ninth,
meant to,
it's coming. The
y'all meant to
ninth,
invite me.
six,
Y'all
6
meant to
p.m.
invite me. Okay, I'll be there. Y'all meant to invite me though. That's what I was thinking tonight. So the Youth Empowerment Summit is, as he said, August 10th, FIU, Florida International University, Covens Center, 9 a.m. Y'all sign up the young people that you have in your circle to come and enjoy this day of empowerment. Again, exposure is key to letting them, again, think differently, see themselves differently. Wow, there I've never met. And as you said, NBA Pro Hall of Famer, the one and only Isaiah Thomas will be the keynote. So I'm excited for y'all. That's a big deal. So August 10th, FIU, Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, putting together a
And
youth
let me
summit.
give you one more. August
Good.
11th. August
Mm-hmm.
11th, Ampersand Studios in the downtown Miami Wynwood area. We're hosting Know Your Price, valuing Black life and property here in America's cities. Specifically in Miami, we're going to be having Dr. Andre Perry from the Brookings Institution, who is probably the foremost expert in terms of the devaluation of homes in majority Black communities. And just
That's deep.
one sample of his research are that if he did a study, apples to apples comparison in terms of controlling for education, for walkability, for schools, the same house, same property in a majority Black area is worth 23% on average less than the same property in a majority white area,
This is crazy.
which is on average $48,000 per property in terms of
So think
lost
about that.
equity and lost wealth. So
That's
we want to
that's
address that as
systemic.
well.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's think about that. So y'all doing work over there,
we
Miami-Dade
work,
Economic Empowerment
we work.
Advocacy Trust. Yes, because if we talk
Shout
about
out
that,
Bill Diggs, shout out Jack Rankin,
yes,
shout
the
out Matthew
CEO, Bill
Tisdale,
Diggs. Yes.
Jordan, Pate Garrett, the whole team. We got a big squad over there, and we coming. We applying
No,
pressure.
people are on the front lines, guys, still doing this work, which I'm so grateful that Dr. Marcus Bryant is here to show us that, the youth are not forgotten. They are 100% the most important thing to us because they are our future. So how they go, so goes the community. So we definitely need soldiers like yourself and like the entire team there that, will keep a focus on this and provide resources and programming, events like this that allow them to get again that exposure to something different, some way else I can make money, some way else I can be, think someone else I think I can become in those type of things. And shout out to you for getting Isaiah Thomas. Thank you for also doing the housing portion, because again,
Mhm.
how do you become middle class? Most of it is through home ownership historically in our country. But now we have a lack of available homes. Home prices
Mhm.
are through the roof. So
Mhm.
now how people going to get their equity built and their path to the middle class access when that we're all competing, right? But specifically in black and brown neighborhoods, the value is less. And then again, there's a lack of inventory. There's not enough houses for the people that want houses. So again, that impacts us a lot more oftentimes. And understanding these things are very important so that we don't hopefully fall prey to them. But sometimes again, they're systemic. This is not just you personally. This is a trend. I've heard of stories where people send their white neighbors to go in their house to pretend to be the sellers and they get better offers. It's sad. It's absolutely sad. But we have to recognize these things so that we can change these things. Thank you, Joy. On Facebook says the best results I received in relation to my two sons is that they speak so well. Yes, the English language, again, no matter where you are, if you're an English speaking country, it is of the utmost importance that you can communicate well. right? That is a skill no matter what job you have that you're going to need. So we have to make sure we are emphasizing that as something that is important for our young people. Absolutely. Appreciate you. Find Dr. Marcus Bright on his social media. Y'all check him out on Twitter, check him out on Instagram. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. Thank you, RM. You got the YouTube channel up. Appreciate that. Make sure you go. Yeah, cursive equals Flintstone. I just wanted to be able to read a card. I gave her a birthday card and she didn't have no problem. She was like, "Okay, thanks for the money, Auntie, but I don't know what it says." It really was like, "Okay, so you don't think they need cursives?" I don't know. I think they might still need a little bit. Tay says, "No problem. I will follow him. I have a channel about education too." Wow. Awesome. So yes, there you go. Would love to connect. Thank you, RM. The Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust is who he is here on behalf of today. Y'all check them out. Again, their whole goal is to create equity for the Black community, economically speaking, in Miami. That's their whole mission, right? And there are multi-pronged ways that you can get involved with, especially if you're down here in South Florida, specifically in Miami-Dade County. Thank you, Brown Gal Peace Lounge. She says these conversations are important. The youth are most definitely the future. Ezra, thank you, the insurance broker. We did a wonderful show together called Protecting Your Legacy as Men. Do men still want their legacy? And we did a wonderful show. Go back and watch it. He says, we need to defend our community. We don't want to see our people wrongfully dying at the hands of cops, no matter what the numbers say. Point well taken. Miami-Dade Government Trust, Economic Empowerment Advocacy Trust, I think is I'm saying it right. RM will drop the link. Life of Cash, how are you? Good to see you. He said, I grew up, I didn't know that, in Miami. I'm currently in Tampa. How can Black men get involved in your programs? Can you tell us a little bit about where we can plug someone like a Life of Cash? Glad you chimed in, brother, who wants to get involved. Somehow, some way, he's in Tampa from Miami. He knows what we what we up
Yeah.
against down here. How would one get involved? Thank you, Life of Cash.
Well, you can reach out to me. My email is drmarcusbright@gmail.com. If you're if you want to, the government email is marcus.bright@miamidade.gov. But that just happens to be, we can, definitely open have a conversation about how we can work together potentially in Miami or in Tampa, because
Wonderful.
a lot of the issues are parallel, both here and and in cities across the country. And so we want to learn from the best ideas and build high value communities. I know that there's been a lot of conversation about high value men, but we also want to have
Hello.
high value. We want to build high value communities, so that we can
Absolutely.
all move together together. We can do more. We can do more if we
Exactly.
leverage our collective capacity and complement each other, and not be competing all the time with each other, but be more of a complementary
Yes, we
in
do.
how we move forward.
It is. It is not a us versus them. It is not a men versus women. Oh my Jesus. We can't even open that can of worms. But yeah, you can be high value. And we had a great discussion on Monday. Shout out to Andre C. Hatchett. Y'all don't know about these shows. Now I've been doing some great work here. You're welcome. Andre C. Hatchett was up on Monday, no, Tuesday, with dating as a high value man. And he talked about that. He's like, the definition has to involve the give back.
Mhm.
It has to involve how you help others, your network and beyond, your respect in the community. But the respect in the community don't come from just the dollars, right? What do people say
Mhm.
about your work, right? And so that uplift and that giving back, that look back over our shoulders, our ancestors did it. Why are we not doing it, or we're seeing it less? Look back over your shoulder, bruh. Look back, pull back. It's super important. Somebody's stripes paid for us. Somebody's stripes paid for us. So I know it's like, not in vogue to remember, but we better remember. Or
Mhm.
we're gonna end up repeating. Y'all don't believe me? Okay, all right. We have to remember, because every young person, I mean, growing up here, I can tell you tens of people, if just from middle school to high school, who helped me. Try
Mhm.
this program, go into this magnet school. She would be great for that. Thank you for all those wonderful teachers, guidance counselors, people on the front lines, helping to develop young minds, right? But they also need the community support, right? It doesn't just stop at the doorway. We want parents, yes, but let's just deal with the reality. A lot of parents are working 2 and 3 jobs, specifically in Miami. just to make ends meet. I know some good people, latchkey kids. They can't help it. They need to pay their bills. So who else is there to help balance? The churches, other organizations, and we as individuals. It used to be we looked out for each other, guys. We know someone was coming home late from work. You look to see how y'all good, y'all in the house. That spirit still can live on, right? We must reignite it. We can't put ourselves outside. That's those kids down that block. Wait till it come for you, ma'am. Don't forget. I know you live across town now. Okay. I know you live across town now. But your son and your daughter is no different. You think you okay? They don't want it, Dr. Marcus. They don't want it because this country is a beautiful country, but we get these ugly reminders.
Mhm.
We cannot let up. We cannot let up. Thank you. That Christian Fam channel says this is a fruitful conversation. Appreciate you, brother. Yes, Synonymous says, police have no obligation to protect and serve. It's just marketing. Dr.
Mm.
Marcus, I don't know if you disagree. We got some wonderful people serving beyond the badge. I agree. Not
Mhm.
everybody's the same. You got these rogues, as they say, but rogues, multiple rogues, make you wonder, like, wait a minute, what's going on with the culture of a place? But I know several police officers who I would want to show up, to
Mhm.
emergencies. So shout out to those who are doing this very difficult job at this time. But yeah, we definitely have to know what we're doing, and I applaud you guys for putting that on the curriculum on the summit on August 10th, so that we're not just giving lip service. This is a real thing, especially if you live in a big city. This is a real thing that young people, especially our boys, have to be aware of how their body language, disposition, all of this, unfortunately, gets looked at, and what they got to do to make sure they come home, right? Any final comments on the policing or youth and policing before we go into mental health?
I think that it's all it all works together. The better of an economic, a material and a mindset place that we're in, the less interactions with law enforcement I think that we'll have, especially those negative interactions. But it's going to be, we're going to do our part to work with these law enforcement agencies. Many of them, when I was with the 5,000 role models, we had a big police and youth conference every year
Yeah.
with over 30 police departments and about 1,000 young men, and they would go over different scenarios, and it was
Wow.
incredible in terms of community and relationship building. And I think many young men actually transition into careers in law enforcement as a result of that. So that exposure and humanizing each other, seeing the humanity in each other, while also holding each other accountable, is,
Yeah.
uh, is is a way to move forward.
I
And
love
looking
it.
and re-examining what we're doing as well, because a
Hmm.
lot of our young people are now getting arrested for what used to just be a minor school fight, minor school skirmish, loitering, hanging
Small
around the
amounts of
wall,
marijuana. Put that in there.
small amount, where in one community they get warnings, and in another community they
They
get
get a
taken down
record.
and
Exactly.
booked. And so it's a all hands on deck situation, but we can move the ball forward. We can
Absolutely.
move it forward.
So you definitely a lot to advocate for. Lot again, pick an issue, y'all. Give to a advocacy group. Show up to a meeting. Vote. Mentor one person. There are so many different ways we can approach this to kind of help push ourselves, back on track, especially our young people. Thank you again, Tayriel says I'm getting ready and then I'm gonna come up to join. Okay, well we dropped the link, y'all. So come on up if you want to join the conversation. I'm excited to hear again solution based ideas when it comes to what can we do to make a difference. We're talking with Dr. Marcus Bright, and our topic for today is saving our youth. There are so many different issues that our young people face. We have, covered a few. There will be many more covered at a youth empowerment conference coming up Saturday, August 10th. If you're in South Florida, definitely sign up your young person to come enjoy a day of empowerment. It starts at 9 a.m. It will be at the FIU Coven Center and on the campus of FIU University, Florida International University. Special guest speaker, NBA Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, talking about his journey and how he overcame. I know he overcame so many odds
Mhm. Mhm.
to become an NBA player. Shout out to Isaiah Thomas for coming down and speaking to the young people. But beyond that, he's been talking about his work. And we were talking about the different aspects we need to address to help our youth, right? So we're going to pivot now into some mental health issues because I think post, or I don't know if we can we say post pandemic? I don't think we can even say post pandemic. In the height of the pandemic, we'll say, I saw so many young people within my own family and in my circle change. I saw sadness. I saw what was undiagnosed depression. I had cousins, baby cousins that were like sleeping all day. And my brother and I talked about it. And we were like, yo, that's a coping mechanism. She ain't tired. That's her escaping. That's her trying to find, I can't deal with this. I'm going to go lay down. We see people with undiagnosed mental health in our community a lot, right? And unfortunately, they have law enforcement interactions that don't go well. But among youth, especially, we have, I guess we got to be careful because we can have an argument being made about overdiagnosis of like ADHD and things like that among Black boys. And then I'm like, but there are definitely other type of mental health. Can we break this down, Doc? That I think is underdiagnosed and undertreated among Black youth populations. Can you talk about what you're seeing as far as the trends in mental health?
One of our sessions, as you mentioned, is called What's on Your Mind, and it has a mental health focus. And as men, and I believe that you recently did a show on it, it is a stigma around mental health. So maybe we need to reframe it to emotional intelligence, but it's something that we all need to different extents.
Right.
But at some point, we can't just think that we can just thug everything out and
Mhm.
then get wrapped up in a bunch of coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
There's a lot of functioning alcoholics who are coping, who are grown folk, who are just trying
Functioning
to
on that
cope.
weed, let's just call it out.
Yeah,
I know
and
several
everything else.
people who I think are self-medicating on marijuana.
Yeah, yeah. I
Not that
wrote
they're
in
just
20.
smoking for fun. I think they're dealing with their issues through it. That's how they
Yeah,
deal. Yeah,
yeah, and
absolutely.
a lot for grown folk. A lot of it is linked, I believe, to economics.
Mm.
In terms of, I actually wrote in 2017. If you Google in Huffington Post an article called "Broken Dreams and Financial Illusions: The Secret Depression of Black Men," and because of the sports dream is pushed, is mass marketed to us. So many, you grow up, you want to go to the league, you've invested your entire identity in sports. And I believe it was Jay-Z who said, I seen hoop dreams deflate like a true fiend's weight. And so after you've invested your entire identity in something, it doesn't work out. And now you're trying to make it financially. You're as we talked about, not necessarily in position to be able to receive those kind of in life wealth transfers that can catapult you, like some other communities that are living on wealth that has been funneled down to them. And so if you've been mass incarcerated and that affects your ability to get many jobs, if you're trying to start a business but you don't have access to capital, you're being discriminated against in the job market, you're overrepresented in low wage jobs, and then you have social media where you're watching other
Telling you
people's
to be a
highlight reel,
baller.
right? Telling you to be you don't have a private jet and doing all this stuff, then you're a loser. Then you're not. Then you don't have value. We have to have a new, as my brother Andre Perry would say, a new value paradigm, and look at and
Yes.
look at and look at the way that we value ourselves, and make mental health more accessible. People are saying that we need mental health, but how do you get one? Make the pathway clearer.
Doc, you
How do you get
preaching.
one?
Doc,
You
you
know, how
preaching.
can you, how can you intentionally? And so I think it's incumbent upon people like even like me. This is something that I'm going to try to even do next week. I'm going to try to call a few brothers and say, you know what, I'm going to schedule me a session.
Yes, good for
I'm going to schedule
you.
me a session. When you scheduling yours?
Exactly.
When you
Hands
scheduling
down.
yours?
Listen, that's
That essentially that's what it's going to take. It's going to take in the barbershops, in our private
mhm,
conversations. Say, hey man, I can give you some advice, but you know, why don't you go see somebody to try to get some professional strategies
right.
to put something in your toolkit so that you can have a counter against everything that's going on uh, from a socioeconomic perspective in our community. And
Yes.
then you can be an example and push that down to the young people in the community, because if they see you doing it, then they say, you know what, let me do it too. I need it too. I need to talk about that too. because
I'm
we
so
deal with so
sir,
much, we suppress so much, especially as men, and you think that, and you have to maintain, this hyper
facade.
masculine
This
frame, yeah, a
yes, I'm
facade, a baller status, and then you asking your homeboy to try to cash app you and let me hold 400-500 to make the bills, but on
but
social
I'm out
media
on social
you
media.
balling.
You said so much. Let me pause you. You said so much because this is Miami, and I know this is elsewhere.
Ooh,
This is elsewhere. This is Miami 100%.
Miami on steroids.
Exactly.
Miami,
When
this
I
is one of the most superficial cities in America. I love
superficial.
Miami, but man,
No, that's why they talking about why I can't find nobody. Get out my business, first of all. Second of all, I live in Miami because there's so many people front and it's hard. I'm first of
yeah.
all, I don't understand again how people can raise families the way they used to, 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. The cost of living is so darn high. You have commonly people pooling together, living together, multi-generational homes, people living with grandma, auntie, all of that because people just need a roommate to survive. We're like New York now. It's very, very difficult to
Mhm.
make ends. Shout out to Andrew. He said, I just came from on the super chat. First of all, let me just acknowledge my brother. Always very supportive. And thank you, Andrew. Y'all gonna make me like get verklempt here with the support. But thank you, Andrew, on the support. I want to read this first, but I wanted to comment on what Dr. Marcus just said. Andrew says, I just came from a Brooklyn First Responder Lions Club, a nice fundraiser where Mayor, okay, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, showed up and spoke directly to us. Okay, big time. I am a proud member of the Lions Club, and I have a lot of law enforcement that are members. They care. Shout out to you, Andrew. This is what we're talking about. What an example
Shout
of
out to Brooklyn, BK,
yes, he
Bed
represents
Stuy,
well.
Crown Heights,
Yeah,
Flatbush.
let's
I was
go.
at Medgar Evers College. That was one of my institutions. So
Oh, so
I
you
was
know
in New
about up
York for a
there.
little bit.
Very nice.
Yeah, I know
No,
about it.
Andrew is definitely a Suzette Speaks Patreon member, supporter, speaker, coming through always, showing love, showing support, and I'm grateful for his long time since I started basically support of the channel, and I really, really, really appreciate you, Andrew. But what he's saying here as an example, again, everybody has different time constraints, economic constraints. We're not asking you by yourself to change the world. But if you can meet up, Lions Club, I'm sure they have a variety of events, probably monthly. If you pick one, if you pick two, that you know what, this is my give back. This is my way of saying, oh my gosh, I've been given a lot. People have helped me. I have gone through some craziness and I have had, those soldiers who have come and like pulled me out of my struggle and opened doors and made a phone call or mentored or gave me a gift, of perspective. We have to, guys. We have to start thinking about this again from a communal standpoint. These kids not gonna be able to get it. Where they mom? Where they daddy? What if they had one? They wouldn't be in trouble, bro. Right? They didn't ask to come to the earth. They came. Right? Mom and dad should be the first level of protection, but that's not always so. I forgot. I read nationally how many people we got in foster care. I was thinking, God, Lee, this is so sad, and we want to deal with them after the fact through the prison system. But if we had a choice, where would we want to? I don't know, Doc, you probably know better than me. I can't remember if it was I think it might have been Booker T Washington who talked about it's easier to help the broken child than to deal with like the damaged man. And I forget which of the ancestors said that, but it
I think
always
that was Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass.
But
Thank you for
shout
correcting
out to
me.
Booker T and
Yeah, I
such
love
an
some bucket people.
institutional builder as well. So
Yes, and I
you
just
know,
had an interview with someone from a Booker T High School. Shout out to
mhm.
Tarek Robbins, author, who came on 2 nights ago on a show about his high school football team, which was Booker T. That's like in the back of my head. But Frederick Douglass talks about that. Helping to develop the person from a young age is so much easier than fixing the broken man. And that is to this day 100% correct. 100 years ago it was true. It's still true 100 years later. We have to focus on hoping to or helping to develop the young people their character, their sense of self worth, and pushing them, not the mediocrity. Not okay. So let me get back to what you're saying. Shout out to Andrew Walker on the super. Thank you again, Andrew. Always so very generous to me here. Hit the like button. We're here with Dr. Marcus. Oh, he came on. We got a guest. Doc, can I bring up my guest? Dr. Marcus Bright is here on behalf of the Miami Dade I was gonna forget.
Economic Advocacy Trust.
Economic Advocacy. Here we go. Economic Advocacy Trust. And they're putting on a youth empowerment summit. We're talking young people today, saving our youth. Glad to have some company. Oh my goodness. How
Mhm.
are you?
Hey, how's it going, Suzette? How's it going,
Hey.
Dr. Bright?
Hey, going well.
Hey, my name is Terrell Key. Just wanted to stop by and introduce myself to you. I'm an assistant principal in Illinois, former Illinois School Counselor of the Year. So, like, this topic just really stuck out to me. Suzette, I got introduced to you, like, from watching you on the lead attorney.
Oh, wonderful. Shout
Yeah,
out to the lead
so
attorney.
yeah. So, yeah, like y'all were
Wonderful.
talking about a really important topic to me, like today, because that's what my entire channel is about, like trying to figure out a way to advocate for educators, for parents, for children, just to make the world a little bit better. And I'm like, in our schools, like we're seeing kids go through like so many different mental health issues right now, where we're bringing in like outside agencies. We're doing all these things to try to help our children right now. Last year, for all educators, was the craziest year ever for us. So we're doing so many things. And I think one of the things, like when we're talking about rescuing our youth and uplifting our youth, one of the things that we need to focus on, and like I think the schools have missed this message. They never really nailed this message the right way because it comes off as blame. But we have to figure out a way to elevate the parents, because without the parents, without parent support at home, like it's so difficult for a
We are
child. I mean,
we swimming uphill. We swimming uphill,
you know what I
100%.
mean? Like
You
seriously.
could be emphasizing one thing at the schoolhouse, and then if you go home and it's madness, I'm sad because the teacher has to be both parent, counselor,
Yep.
and more, and like therapist. Shout out
Yeah.
to the teachers because
Yeah,
these
yeah,
are the
yeah. I mean, and
frontline people.
sometimes
That's
when
why.
you, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
And sometimes when we call home, like it's literally like that opposite message. Like it's like opposition. So
Yes.
like what I've been trying to tell people a lot of times, we need to change the way that we package this message as educators. Like we need to come to the parents and ask for support. Like, hey, we need your help. We need your partnership in this, because for so long, like it's literally been adversarial. People are blaming the schools for all of these like problems in society, and the educators, like we just don't know how to nail that message. So I think one of the
Mm,
things that I want to do is to kind of step out there as an educator and advocate for children, but also tell parents like, hey, like we really do need you. We need all of
yes.
you, seriously. Like we need the community, but
Listen.
most importantly, we need the people at home at their table.
When I think about it, you brought up such a great point. Thank you, Terrell, for being here. Check out his channel, y'all. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I gotta go check it out. And shout out to lead attorney for making connections over here. Yes, Sunbreeze says great connections. That's what we want in YouTube. This is a space again. I don't even think I've recognized the full potential of it.
Hmm.
But here talking to people from Illinois, Miami, London, England. This is what we do, right? And we're all, as people of color of the diaspora, looking at our young people and saying, wait a minute, this is our community. That's not their child. They're this, they're that. This is us,
Hmm.
right? So those people who also identify with that type of, economic struggle, historical struggle, we all kind of owe each other to look out and to say, wait a minute, what is happening in Chicago, what is happening here is also very similar to Miami. What are y'all doing? What are we doing? How can we have a different type of impact? I want to go back and I'm going to touch on what you just said, Terrell. I want to go back to some of the things that Dr. Marcus Bright just mentioned when it comes to dreams deferred. If I can tell you the amount of men I know that because they did not make it to NFL or because they did not make it to NBA, because again, that dream is so overhyped, so unrealistic for most. Now, you do have your 6'9" and up. Okay. Everybody had a 6'9" on the team. You're not going to make this most likely 99% a reality. And the amount of grown men, I can even think back from my high school teams that's on the side of the road selling CDs, that's on the side of the road looking despondent, like as if their life didn't mean nothing. They one homeboy made it to the NBA and everybody's jealous. Everybody feels like they can't measure up. Instead of having had even the opportunity of having a plan B, there was never ever any plan B. I could go to my own family, cousins, who was man of the county, man of the state, couldn't read and write, went to school in America and couldn't read and write. So when you get to the JUCO or when you get to the 4 year, you lost. So you could play. You can play. But you can't pass no class. So now you're a fish out of water because they're telling you you're on academic probation. You about to lose a scholarship. And you're getting sent back home with what? Now you are ashamed. Now you feel like, I've let everybody down because everybody dreams writing on you. Mom, dad, the whole entire family. And now what? Oh my gosh. If I can tell you, I have my little cousin dating a young man like this, to my big cousins who I've known live this type of life, and they never really recover mentally. They sit in a place of feeling as if their life was supposed to be NFL or NBA, and it never happens. And this is so, oh my gosh, widespread. And we don't talk about it because, again, in their mind, they cannot conceptualize an alternative of how they can live a good life, a productive life, a take care of a family life. So when this does not manifest, it is a drawn out, many year depression of sorts where they feel almost like I have not become what God had put it, set me out to be. And it's like, but bruh, you're still alive. You still have other gifts. You still have other talents. You have ability to go and pivot and change and go into a whole nother direction, but they don't recognize it themselves and they self-medicate. The weed smoking, the drinking. We're gonna be real. We're gonna be real. The womenizing. Y'all don't want it. Y'all don't want it. Men walking around here broken. But we could have done something a little bit different if we could intervene if they were younger, maybe they would be different. But they walk around still trying to prove to both themselves and to the community, I am somebody. I matter. And instead they're picking the wrong ways to self-medicate and never truly recover. Can any of y'all my brothers talk about this? Because it hurt my heart.
That was actually me, to be honest with you. I thought that I was
Really?
going to the NFL. I literally did. It was either that or I was going to go into the Olympics. I really thought that was going to happen. And like one of the side effects I think with that is that you go throughout school with no sense of purpose. So even like when I'm talking to young men at at the school level, like you don't really have a sense of purpose if you don't know exactly why you're going to school. Like if you don't know, like, hey, like even if you don't know what career you want to be in, if you don't know, like if I want to be like an engineer or I'm interested in science or I want to be a writer, if you don't have that sense of purpose, it literally makes school meaningless and it becomes something that you just have to do. So for a while in college, I was just there just to be there because I played 1 year of football in college, and then from there, like I really didn't know what I was going to do after I got hurt. And fortunately for me, I ended up substitute teaching and realized that I really loved working with kids. And immediately my grades just went up, like immediately. Now I knew I had a purpose now. And I knew that I really, like, if I worked hard, if I study hard, I knew that I could make a difference in the life of children. So like, it literally changed my entire life. I started, in my fraternity, started like creating, I've created an ELL program at a school. It was just like,
Gave you purpose and meaning. Imagine a man needs purpose.
You have to have
a man needs a vision.
My life, and then I was able to impact so many other people. And I just think, if I would have never taught that day, then I would have never done all the things that I've done in my life. Just that one instance, and just touching, getting in contact, with the school and talking to some of like the older educators and them just really just laying into me and telling me, like, you have a gift when it comes to education. Like, you need to be here. You belong here. Yeah. And just having like those older guys like to tell me that it meant something, because also like when I talk about parents, like my father wasn't really around, so I didn't really have older guys that kind of reach out to me and tell me like, hey man, you have a purpose here. Like you deserve a seat here. And it just opened so many doors for me.
Your story, thank you for sharing it, because I think, again, a lot of men can relate, whether they say it out loud or not. Especially, again, like I said, we're from a place, I don't know how it is in Ohio, we're a big football culture place. So everybody make it to the league. We're gonna make it to the league. Everybody make it to the league. That's all you hear. Dr. Marcus, you want to respond as well?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And having a purpose and discovering your gifts. And too often we bury our gifts at a young age to go all out in pursuing our sports or entertainment dream. And it's incentivized our entire childhood. And so many people gain their identity. They feel like they've come into agreement with their value is based on their status of being an athlete. And so even really beginning elementary school, middle school, you get recognized, you get cheered for in the athletic arena, you get social status, you get girls, you get all of these different incentives versus the kid that's a student never gets cheered for, or we don't have parallel. And I think that there are so many positive attributes to sports in terms of having a work ethic and learning how to be a leader and perform on stage and compete and work with each other and all of these different things. And I think that we can leverage what's working there and build parallel pathways that are also celebrated.
Yes. Emphasizing parallel pathways. Yes.
Emphasize and celebrate, award, appreciate, and have true meaning and add value there in the parallel system. Because I'm thinking, I even look back and I used to, because I was one of the top rated high school basketball players in Tennessee, and I had a big injury and equipment went down the whole nine. But just looking at how much, from the time I was in 5th grade, after school, I would go to normal practice, and then I would go and work on my game for like 3 more hours.
Yes.
Eat and go to sleep.
The
and I'm like, man,
yes.
if I had repurposed some of that time, I could have had about 20 books published.
Yes.
I could have known every coding curriculum if we repurposed some of that time. Not
all that practice time.
All of it.
But
and then you're done. Eligibility over, done.
Yeah. Yes. And the other thing is, like, we're getting the attention that a lot of us aren't getting at home too. Like, that's the other thing. Like a lot of, some parents are working 2 jobs and you're alone. Like, you're getting attention in sports that you did not get any other time.
You feel like a man. You feel like a man. You finally getting that respect and recognition. I hear you 100%. And it's because they're not necessarily getting at home or in a healthy environment like a program or somewhere else where a man is saying to a boy, I believe in you. I'm proud of you. You did that. The only way to get it is shooting that shot. And so you get this overemphasized, over highlighted, over whatever from our community that's the way out. That's how everybody gonna, make it. And I'm telling you, I see people to this day that I have interaction with in the legal system that I'm like, God, Lee, this is a good man. This is a man with good foundation, but again, it was never pushed towards anything, and it was only supposed to be the sport. And then when it wasn't, it was like, to this day, a sense of like failure. That's really what it is, a sense of failure. And it's just like an ongoing trauma that never got addressed, and therefore even now is passed down to the next generation in this kind of weird and sick way. And it's like, again, like you said, Doc, if we had spent all that time coding, if we had spent all that time learning, all of these skills that would make you, an engineer or whatever, and or auto mechanic or AC repair, bruh, you'd be on your way. And when these things are put in front of you, dangled in front of you, everybody wants to be in the NBA as the only way a Black man in America makes it. It's very sad. It is a disservice to us. And I think we have to kind of wake up as a community to be much more purposeful with presenting these other opportunities with gusto, with respect. Like, I would be just as proud of you if you go here instead of there, or alongside those programs, after the practice, no, we got, I don't know, counseling with so-and-so or one-on-one. mentor or career day with someone else. Like, we need to really balance it. I don't know. Y'all probably can come up with better solutions than I can. But I always go back to this because I do think a lot of people, family members, friends, my community members, suffer from this low self-esteem because of a dream deferred. It is so scary how the mental health kind of just is exacerbates over time, and they never truly recover or, take back and reclaim who they truly are or could be. And it's like it's just like ongoing suffering. I don't know. It hurts my heart. Doc, you want to make comments on that?
You're absolutely right, and I think that we can change the paradigm now. We can change it. We can use our imagination and belief system and change. You mentioned Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass is my favorite figure in history because he had the faith and belief and imagination to believe that he could do something to change an institution that had been in place over 230 years. But he could use the gift that God gave him and help to create a climate for the Civil War, for the abolition of slavery. And so we can do the same thing here. We can do it. You can start where you are, show success where you are, be a star in your role. At the same time as Douglas, you had Harriet Tubman. She wasn't the founder of the Underground Railroad, but she was a star in her role.
Right.
And not only did she get herself the freedom, as you mentioned, she reached back and helped other people. We used to be about community advancement and collective advancement, but at some point we made the wrong turn and became just about individually. What let me get mine, and as soon as I get it, deuces to
Cut the
y'all.
cord.
Yeah,
We've been sold a lie,
deuces.
Doc. We've been sold a lie. We've been sold a
Yeah.
lie that somehow individual advancement trumps community advancement. Don't ever let them play you. This is what we're being sold, this individualism. Why do you care about that? It is a divide and conquer. It is 100% divide and conquer. And it makes you feel as if you have out kind of grown who you really can't get away from, bruh. Not in America. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. You're welcome. Sunbreeze, let me read some comments. Says, I hear you, Suzette. They get stuck. Can't get out of the trap. 100%. Thank you, RM. Found the link. Check it out. Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust. Wonderful resources right here in South Florida. Yes, Sunbreeze adds they made drugs. They made drugs to numb the sickness. It isn't a cure to solve the problem. 100%. A lot of people are self-medicating in our community, getting arrested for really self-medicating for depression and other things. Very true. Yes, if you like the message, y'all hit the like button. Mosaic with TJ Randolph, thank you for being here, says the same thing happened, with Mr. Randolph, I think her hubby. He thought he'd go into the NFL and had to find another future purpose in truck driving. Shout out to Mr. Randolph. Again, it's not easy sometimes to redevelop a self-concept when you are tied, when you are invested, when you think this is what God put me on earth to do. And that's really what you have to think to get to those levels anyway. And then something, injury, this, that, you just ain't make the team. That kind of thing hits you. It's almost like, I remember I had a friend go to University of Michigan. He told me, he was like, Suzette, I'm tired of being a practice dummy. I realize I'm good, but I'm not as good as these guys on the first string. And yes, the coach will keep me on here as a walk-on, but what's happening to my body? What's happening to my brain? And I'd be like, look at the gift God gave you. You still got your hands, you still got your head, you still got your body intact. Instead of looking at it as like, oh my gosh, I missed this opportunity. No. There's a lot of upside to it and a lot of lessons you learn from it in your own self-development. But it's not the end all be all. And we got to stop making it a zero sum for our young people. Andrew says, I have been there because life often humbles us. Hello, in a severe way. I have felt lost and defeated. Thank you, brother, for admitting that. That is not uncommon. Men and women. Go ahead. You wanted to say something, Terrell?
Yeah. And that's the one I think, we're talking about dream deferred and we're talking about history. And that's why I think Malcolm X has such an incredible story. Just thinking about who he was as a child. And then like his dream shifted, right? And then as an adult, he was someone else. And he just never stopped growing and never stopped changing no matter the circumstances. And that's why, like, even if like your dreams deferred or if you're feeling hopeless now, like it is never too late to go get a skill, like to go, go get a trade, go get an apprenticeship. it's never too late to stop growing, to stop learning, to do more, to aspire. Like you could be all of those different things. You can develop a sense of purpose, whether you're 30 or if you're 40. I mean, my mom went back to college in her 30s because she had me when she was young. I mean, like there's
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I was trying to make you solo and then drop you down. You was in the middle of something.
good.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's never a time where like it's too late for you to go back and to try to do more, like to try to be better, to better yourself, to add more value to the community. There's never, that's all I wanted to say. There's never really a time that,
Absolutely.
you could
See, we
always,
be listening to our friends though, and we be thinking, "Why are you doing that? Why
right,
we see it as young as I raise my hand, but then no other boys in the class are raising their hand, so I stop raising my hand.
right.
So I start to again put myself in a box. I don't even know I was in that box,
It
but
was so
the
cool to be
social pressure, the feeling of I'm old, I'm too this, I haven't made it, so I'm never gonna make it. That we got to be very careful at every stage of life, not to let that kind of seep into our mind and our mindset that we are done, that we can't do no more, and it's pervasive. I don't know what's going on. We have become as a country
Mhm.
there, they're all levels, but mediocrity has taken hold in a lot of circles where doing the bare minimum, being and living a life expressed as the bare minimum has become okay. And we have to really, again, whether it's on an individual, macro, micro level, take that away and go back to the no, God gave you enough potential to do whatever it is that you at this moment now want to do. We left football, bruh. It's okay. You got your scholarship, you got your 4 year. Good. Now what? We got to make sure we always have that sense of hope and
Mhm.
acknowledge that people do evolve. People do change. What you wanted. Yes, I'm telling you, people been dying like, so when you're going to do your next conference? I'm like, hold up. I don't know what God is doing with me in this season.
Right.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Like I have to be honest with myself about that. I'm like, God, I've always done a conference every year. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and there's that social pressure. But guess what? He could be doing a new thing too. So you have to allow yourself the grace. God, I really don't know what I'm doing right now. I really feel defeated. I feel like I've, lived my best years. I'm a shadow of my old self. I hear that so much. Because
Right.
when you was young and fine and everybody worshipped you. Okay. But this is a new you now, right? You got to invent yourself again, right? Reinvention. People are like, well, you can't reinvent. Yes, you can, right? Who am
Mhm.
I in this season? What is my purpose in this season? I know what I thought I had and what I thought I should have done, quote, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, some of y'all 30 years ago. But now it's a new season. I got new people to impact. I have new goals. I have a new way of being. And I accept myself. I give myself grace for this. I don't know how I'm going to, be in another 5 years. But right now, this I feel called to. Right now, these are the young people I feel called to. Right now, this is the projects or whatever it is I feel called to. And that's okay. Even I did not expect to be on YouTube. And I'm like, I know there's people like, damn, what's she doing up there? Is she a lawyer? She's whatever, whatever. This is me right now. And I'm
Mhm.
enjoying it. And I'm having impact, right? So you don't
Mhm.
know where your path. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time to unpack. Whoa, what do I really want? And we always have to go back. Dr. Marcus, you mentioned it. We did a wonderful show last week, the mental health that men hide last Saturday. Shout out to my brother Nelson Counseling. Get professional help, guys.
Mhm.
Suzette don't know everything. Dr. Marcus don't know everything. Terrell don't know everything. But
Mhm.
some of us, because we are smart, we think we do. So the professional aspect of helping you deal with your feelings and your emotions, your past pain, disappointments, trauma. You gotta talk it out. Get it out of the body. Express yourself. Get it out of the body. Have somebody else listen to it and help you process, what did this mean to you? How did it impact you even now? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
there's so much I want to say. Go ahead, Terrell.
And people like they think that when they're reinventing themselves, it's just gonna happen right away. I mean, and even like with this YouTube thing or anything that I do that's new when I'm like reinventing myself, like I do it like I try to get 1% better each day. Like I want my channel to get 1% better, maybe better lighting one day, a better microphone, or I'm gonna read a little bit more before the next show or whatever. Like we have to start like stop thinking about things like with the sense of immediacy. Like everything has to happen right now. Like we need to have everything right now. We can gradually make it. Like your goal could be 5 years or 10 years down the road. Like this is who I'm gonna become. This is who I want to be. This is where I see myself. But so many times, like it's like we got a New Year's resolution. I'm just gonna get in shape now. You know, like
No, I'm gonna get fine now. Y'all know it's a struggle. You know it's a struggle.
right. It's the spring. It's the spring. It's about to be hot girl summer. I'm about to be out here. Like like
Yo, Jamaica snuck up on me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to Jamaica now. Okay, it's over. I gotta get ready to go.
But things happen gradually in life. You know what I mean? Like you could gradually, if you just do a little bit better each time, and you could get to wherever you want to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that goes from young to quote mature. Everybody, we want the success overnight. We want to buy the house tomorrow. We want to get the better job tomorrow. It don't happen like that. And we also, again, in the microwave, Instagram, social mediaification of life, we realize now, I think, how much it has impacted all of our young people and adults, our mental state, thinking that, someone else has such a better life than you, such a better husband, wife, whatever you want to call it. And this feeling, again, I think somebody said it. Yes, Brown Gal Peace Lounge. First, let me recognize you. Without struggle, there is no progress. Absolutely. Somebody says, yes, that's called self-esteem, 100%. Some people are led by ego, she adds, which is not the same as self-esteem. So you got to be careful that when that ego get broken in half, oh my, it's like the broken person. You don't want to date nobody in that phase either. But you want to be very careful. You yourself are not, ego driven, and that's a whole other conversation. But thank you, Sunbreeze, for bringing that up. Yes, I wanted to recognize, hit the like button, y'all. We got 50 likes. Let's build. First of all, Terrell, you got a YouTube channel. So I want to encourage everyone, go check him out. I will be subscribing as soon as we get off. Yay. I'm glad through Lead you found me. We found each other. You found Dr. Marcus. Look at this. All kinds of
I found y'all on Twitter too.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Yeah. So great to have you here, y'all. Show us some support. We support one another here on the Suzette Speaks show. Dr. Marcus's channel has been dropped several times, and I'm going to read a few more comments, and then I'm going to get to the gentleman just to kind of give us kind of like their final thoughts and understanding where we go individually and as a community. Joy says, all the way from London, says, in 1995, the worst happened to me. The medical profession left me for dead. Ooh, it's a miracle that I'm still here. Listen, we think we have struggles, man. Sometimes I have to remind even my parents, yo, mommy, someone would want what you are dealing with. Someone will want it. And we tend to, again, looking at the social mediaification of life, always think it's a microwave. It's tomorrow. I have to remind myself constantly, stop looking at this, turn this off, don't go there, because you think this is the one way and everybody's supposed to be successful at 20. It does not happen for the majority of people. That's not how it works. But you see these few outliers and they're being push in your face, and you think you're behind. Right. So you got to know yourself and run your own race. And we got to teach that to young people as well as ourselves and remind ourselves. Absolutely. I saw one more comment. I'm going to go back to Dr. Marcus again. If you're in the Miami area, August 10th, there is a wonderful youth summit going on by the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, right? Special guest speaker, MBA legend, the one and only Isaiah, the old one, not the young one, Isaiah Thomas, the original Isaiah Thomas. They're going to be dealing with let me read a couple of the headings. 9 a.m. Colvin Center at FIU. They're going to be talking about everything about, I saw this too, blockchain, crypto. You guys are going to teach kids about crypto. Very interesting. Of course, mental health, law enforcement encounters, criminal justice and legal pathways, career pathways. Excited about that. Tech pathways, which we talked about, business and entrepreneurship, and they're going to have, several speakers and breakout sessions, etc. So you can register for more information. The link has been dropped. The Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust website. You can come out, get a young person, bring them, drop them off, you go with them, whatever it is, and let them experience some different messaging than they're getting, I'm sure, via social media. But what you do, Terrell, tell me more in terms of what you see solution-based speaking as to what, people are overwhelmed. If you ain't got no kids like me, you're like, well, okay, where do I start? I start with my family. Right. I took my little cousins to a play the other day. They were lost. They had never been to a play. 17-year-old had never been to a play in her life, right? I tried to expose them. I give, you get auntie trips, field trips for me, as well as kids outside when I can on the one-on-one basis, like a big brother, big sister type thing.
Mhm.
And I even have my young people that I keep in my circle, my 26 and probably younger. Even a little bit older, they be trying to call me like, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I can help you through your job decisions. I can help you think about even some relationship decisions and, how to look at things. But we may be feeling overwhelmed over here. I can acknowledge this. So if
Mhm.
you have any words of encouragement, ways in which people can, bite off, like you said, that little 1%, little bite of the apple. You don't have to bite the whole apple. You don't have to eat it up the entire time.
Right.
Every little bit will kind of make a wonderful, amalgamation of change. So, Terrell, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I mean, I just think that one of the things that you brought up was social media, and like social media has created like an age where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people. Like, we're always looking at what someone else has, but we don't know the reality of what anyone has. I think there's a saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And for so long, like especially this year, the last few years with COVID and everything, like there really hasn't been a lot of joy or happiness in the country at all. And I think, not saying that we have to get off of social media, but like we need to start like literally just taking a step back, like just to look at our own lives and just be happy for some of the things that we already have. Look at where we came from, like, in your life, like look back sometimes and look at where you came from to get to where you are now. I mean, like so many of us have made tremendous progress. Many of us are first generation college students, especially, I don't know about y'all, but, I am. And I mean, it's just so important just to look back and just think, man, like this was a gradual thing. So, when it comes to like for me, like building my channel and stuff like that, it's gonna be gradual. Like right now, I think I have like 3,000 subs, but it's gonna be a gradual thing in order for me to really grow that channel. I know I'm not
That's
gonna.
not too shabby. Come on now. Like people would love to have 3,000 subs.
It's
I'm
okay.
excited for you. I'm
It's
excited for
okay.
you. But so you talk mostly about education, etc.
So education, and I also talk about life, because I talk about my life. I think education to me is K through life. So there's a lot of things in life that I could talk about too, because I'm constantly learning, whether it's on YouTube or it's reading books or just observing things, So like one of my sayings that I say all the time is never stop learning. My friends, we have a thing where like whenever it's a child's birthday, we don't give cards. It was actually my wife's idea, but we don't give cards anymore. We give books, and like we leave like a saying, in there for children. And one of my favorite things to leave at the end is never stop learning, because
Absolutely.
it's never too late to learn more, to grow, to be better. Just to, even as a person, to grow and become an even better person, have better morals and values. So like it's just a constant.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna piggyback, and I love what you're saying, and just saying that. I mean, what struck me just now is there are people that may feel like their life is not together, so they can't mentor somebody, or
Hmm.
that they didn't make the right decisions. But I think you have to remember that you're the perfect person to mentor,
Hmm.
because you wanted to take a path or don't only took one, made one thing your idol, honestly, and thought it was gonna be this way. Those stories are so important to tell. I think sometimes we hide and we think, again, we've destroyed our life, or we look back and we wish we could have, would have, should have. And sometimes we feel inadequate, honestly, right? That we can't be the ones to say it because look at us. You are the
Hmm.
perfect person to say it. So whether it was, I wish I had also focused on my academics, if I wish I had also, tried to whatever, fill in the blank while I played football, while I did this, while I, thought that I couldn't go back to school. I wish I had gone back to school earlier. I wish I had done this. I was listening to Dr. Eric Thomas this morning as I get ready every
Hmm.
Saturday. I listen to his show that I miss on Thursday because I'm doing my show. And he was just talking about the sense of urgency that sparked me again today. Like, I feel like sometimes we think like, oh, somebody else will do it. Someone else will take care of that kid. Someone else will correct that kid on the street. We're afraid, sometimes in Miami, I am, to say something to young people. I do it with a laugh. I'm like, what you doing? That's crazy.
Hmm.
Like we still got to do some of that in a loving way, being very careful, and kind of reading the situation. But yeah, some of that is still necessary, that, that community involvement in people's lives. I think people miss it. That's why people are here on social media. So this is one way to develop it again. But in real life, off of the computer, we still have to do it. We still have to be around in spaces that, we can find those who are seeking, and some of them don't even know they want one. a mentor, or people to teach them. They think they know everything. That's another thing. They think they know everything. No,
And I
they
think
don't even know what they don't know.
everybody's a
So
hater too.
you still got to be there, even though they think they do know everything. And I'm like, okay, they really don't even know what they don't know. So, so they think they're smarter. They got their tech gadgets in there on their apps or whatever. But we still know what life is about, those of us with more experience. And we still know how tough life can be. So we cannot shy away, and we cannot feel this sense of like, I'm inadequate. I can't be the one to speak up. And we have to make ourselves available. That's the other thing. Make yourself available. I know it's kind of weird when, if you don't have kids, or you're a single man, or you're single, but you gotta, there's spaces where you can still be present. 100 Black men are chapters across the country, a fraternity, chapters across the country, 5,000 role models. Okay, all right, represent AFY. Okay, there are ways in which you can find the Kiwanis. What Andrew just mentioned, the Lions Club, the Kiwanis, the Rotaries of the world, and they're good networking anyway. But they also have that give back component where we can read the Junior League. I was a member of Junior League down here. There's so many different organizations, guys. Even if you only have that 1 or 2 hours a month, let's even say, not everybody's going to be in the trenches, but if you have that 1 or 2 hours a month, if this is your calling, if something else is your calling, but that give back is the most important thing, to reach someone and teach. But Terrell, I've enjoyed having you on. There's his channel, y'all. He got ready for us. I'm grateful that you came up here. Let's do a collab. Why not? I'm planning my August out. So hit me up. Could you hit me up on Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. I'll hit you up.
Okay. And will you be around Monday? Guess who's my guest? Did you know who my guest is on Monday?
No, who's your guest Monday?
The one and only HBCU head coach, Hugh Jackson.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay. What time do you go on Monday? Because I'm 7. So that I'll come on.
The stream is up.
Right
you
after
can hit
my
the
show.
notification bell.
Yeah, because my show is at 6, so I could come on right after that.
6 Eastern or 6 Central?
6 Central.
I'm 7 Eastern.
Oh man,
we're at the same time. It's okay. I'll be on long.
I'm normally on Tuesdays. But we have like registration, so like it's
no problem. No problem. I know it's all love. But I'm excited. I have Coach Hugh Jackson coming on Monday, and then I have Tobias the Traveler telling us about his harrowing story of being robbed and drugged on a vacation in Medellin this past weekend. So we go from a little sports to be careful and watch your back. But we do it all here on the SuzetteSpeaks show. Again, thank you to Terrell.
And then your streams are longer than mine, so I'm only on for an hour. I might be able to catch you after that. I can't do the 2-hour streams yet. I don't have it in me, man. I got an hour.
Listen, I just went and did a consultation for Invisalign. And I was just like, I got to wear this all the time. I'm like, I'm on YouTube a lot. They're like, just wear it on YouTube. I'm like, people gonna be looking at my mouth. And they're like, no, you have to wear it like 22 hours a day. For some reason, I thought it was like a nighttime thing.
Right.
You have to wear it out all the time. So y'all get ready for the Invisalign suit if I do it. But shout out to you, Terrell. Thanks for spending a little time with us on a beautiful Saturday. Much success on your channel. Go subscribe. You see his name there. Let me make you big. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and wonderful insights today with everybody on this topic. All right. I hope to have you back. All right. Hit me up on Instagram for real. Okay.
All right,
see you soon. Thank you. And final thoughts from our special guest, Dr. Marcus Bright. I've enjoyed this conversation, sir. Final thoughts on this broad topic, saving our youth, and what people should be thinking about or can do in terms of solutions.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Suzette, and for leveraging and maximizing the incredible platform that you have. My final thoughts are just to lead with gratitude, number one. First thing I do every morning is write 10 things that I'm grateful for and why I'm grateful for them. And so let us focus on everything that we have, the assets that we have within us, the assets that we have within our community, and invest in those assets. And then number two, see value in each other, see value in what you're doing. Your only competition, as we talk about social media, is the best version of yourself. And you can add value in wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you can do something to make it better. You're that valuable. You're that important. You're that significant. You're in South Florida. Join us on Wednesday, August 10th, FIU North Campus, Covens Conference Center, Power Summit, workshops, mental health, cryptocurrency, tech career pathways, legal career pathways. law enforcement encounters, business and entrepreneurship. NBA Hall of Famer and entrepreneur Isaiah Thomas, keynote speaker. Join us. We love to have you. Miami Dade, www.miamidade.gov/economic advocacy trust to register. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank y'all. Y'all check out this wonderful youth summit. Check out Dr. Marcus Bright. He said, Google him, y'all. Google him, get the articles, learn about, his thinking in terms of youth empowerment and beyond on a lot of different subject matters. And I'm grateful. I just wish you the best, continued growth and success. Would love to have you back. And again, thank you for blessing us with your knowledge. And we enjoy having you as our expert today. And I hope to have you back. Good luck on the Youth Summit.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, brother. That was Dr. Marcus Bright. Check him out, YouTube channel. Check him out, articles he's written. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation on saving our youth. Again, there's so many different aspects we can plug into. We need a reminder sometimes. I know sometimes it gets a little hard and we feel overwhelmed, but final comments from the chat. Let me see. They saying amen, doc. They saying thank you. Great conversation, says Brown Gal Peace Lounge. Thank you. Joni De La Plata, good to see you, says, I always ask for a mentor, even as a chief of staff in process execution. Yeah, you can always learn and transcend. Thank you, Joni. Yes, mentoring is organic and does not require you to be successful academically. Absolutely, y'all. Everyone can be a mentor. I'm a part of Speak Higher. Wow, which is amazing. Y'all check out Terrell's channel. Check out Dr. Marcus Bright's channel. And most importantly, if you're in the South Florida area, check out the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust's Youth Empowerment Summit, August 10th, FIU, Colvin Center, 9 a.m. Guest speaker, NBA legend Isaiah Thomas coming through. You guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you on Monday. Before I go on vacay, I'm doing it big. Let's go. Coach Hugh Jackson. Y'all be here Monday, kicking off the college football season with him taking over at the historic Grambling State University. He's had his highs, he's had his lows as an NBA, NFL coach. And I'm wondering, there's so many things I want to learn from him, and I know he'll have powerful messages for everybody. So come check me out on YouTube. Hit the like button on your way out. There's a Cash App. Thank you to my sponsors, Sunbreeze. Thank you. And Andrew Walker. Thank you for sponsoring today's stream from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much to everyone who holds up my content. I really, truly appreciate it, and especially on subject matters like today, for showing so much love from the bottom of my heart. I'm so grateful. All right, y'all, before y'all got me in my feelings, have a beautiful rest of your Saturday. Great to see everybody. Y'all take care. Bye for now.